Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video. What you believe it or not, you have all been asking for. We've got that beautiful Golf out there and that beautiful RS Turbo. Yet in the comments of all the videos, everyone says, what is going on with that black Focus, Rob? When are we going to see more on it? And we just try and do a different car each time. This one has been sitting there while we have been waiting for a couple of little bits. Now, I got very lucky when I popped down to Kent Auto Salvage the other day to pick something completely irrelevant up. He had one of these that just arrived in. And look what it had on it, guys. I managed to get that rear boot handle, a towing eye cap in colour. I got the front one as well, Chris, didn't I? Yeah, it was. Front and rear towing eye caps in colour and that back piece there. So. Oh, and a new wheel trim for it, yeah, because it was quite scuffed up. So, got really lucky there. We've now got all the bits, but this is the bit you have all been waiting for. Everyone was so keen to have a look underneath this car. Now, as you know, when I went to pick this car up, it was cheap. It was £250, wasn't it? But I still did bend down. I was waiting for the guy for quite some time. I had a good look round it and I had a look underneath it. And to me, it looked okay. It wasn't a huge risk at 250. We knew that we could always get our money back on the engine in this one because it has only done that 19,000 miles. So let's get it up in the air and have a look what we've bought. Guys, sometimes the way things work out, we actually got an early start on this car late in the day. And you would have seen there, Chris said there was a lot of leaves and bits of twigs and stuff underneath. So he actually hammered that under there with a leaf blower and you would have seen the pile it left on the floor. I was actually out MOTing that and you'll be watching that video first on the KA. So we have just had a little bit, sorry, before I move on, also that, it was there, Chris, wasn't it? Yeah, just round the corner. This way, there was quite a large dent in here. And Chris, you would have seen with a heat gun, warmed it up, got that straight edge on there, clipped it on, waiting for it to cool down. That can actually come off now, can't it? And that'll be fine, that. But underneath, pleasantly surprised. I did look underneath and I could see these little bits hanging down when I looked underneath it. But I don't know why, I just knew it was going to be good. It's still like new, that's wax, isn't it? Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of you guys was worried. Yeah, that is nice. You was worried that this was going to be rotten as a pear underneath. I mean, Chris, we both expected these cross members to have surface rust on them.
Yeah.
But that's...
It's a 10-year-old car, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's still mint.
Yeah. It's no different to any other 10-year-old car, though.
I mean, that surely proves the 19,000 miles as well. I know some people was doubting it a little bit, but this genuinely is a 19,000 mile car. Look at that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, little bits of surface rust. You've still got your labels. Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I did expect it to be a little bit more because it did sit there so long. But look at the chassis rails on it. Yeah. They're spotless. The springs still nice. Got their coating on them. But there is a lot of... Well, not a lot. There's a bit. We will do something about that, won't we? We want it to be nice. Yeah, definitely.
All these bushes look all right, don't they?
They all look like new still. Yeah. There's not even any perishing on them. Yeah. So, very happy. This is turning out to be a very nice car. Like I said, apart from the little bit of surface rust right there on the subframe. But it'll all clean up. It's all nice, isn't it? Yeah. Quite happy with that. What's the plan, mate?
Give that a wire brush off, bit of dinner troll.
Treat it all.
Yeah, and then I think we said we was going to put discs and pads, weren't we?
Yeah, front discs and pads. And a full service. Yeah, definitely. Right, let's get it down and, well, sorry, let's get the tools out and get to it. We're pretty happy with the underside now, and a little bit later on we will lift it up and do a bit of a walkthrough and show you that. Chris stripped off the brake caliper and the disc there, removed them, and he's actually cleaned all this up as well. And we are using that Dinatrol ML. We was actually sent this for the whole Range Rover, so we are going to have to order some more, aren't we? They did send us quite a lot. And this is actually super penetrating corrosion prevention and stops existing brown. So it's actually going to stop any existing rust. So you can see these are actually like new, these hubs, but they do have that surface rust on them. You could probably go to town, rub them all down and paint them again, but really we just want to stop the little bit of surface rust that's on there, and it's going to prevent it. So my fingers are all clean, and when you do wipe your finger over it, it does go a little bit greasy, but the longer you leave this, it actually dries out really, really well. And like I say, last night we actually did the underside, and I'll show that a little bit later on. So these brake discs, as you can imagine, with 19,000 miles on it, it's got hardly any wear on these at all. They are the original discs for the car. These are the new ones. And it's just, yeah, if you was desperate, you probably, well, you would get away with them. It'd pass the MOT with them, and they would clean up very nice by the time you got to the MOT. But this is such a lovely car. We want it all to be nice, and it is an inexpensive job to do the discs and pads. So we're ready to get them new ones fitted, Chris, right? Right, we get the other side strips, and then we get those brakes fitted. Very, very easy job to do as well. Hopefully a little bit of an insight there for you guys. I know there's hundreds of videos on changing your brake discs and pads online, so I didn't want to get in too depth. A little bit on time lapse. So even though the new brake pads do come with squirrel pads, so I will clean that up a little bit, put a bit too much on there. Even though they come with squirrel pads, we do still put a bit of copper slip on them. Quite straightforward to do. You see I used the piston wind back tool to push the piston all the way back. I then took the pins out, the slider pins. So obviously this part of the caliper is fixed. This part of the caliper is the bit that moves in and out. And there's like slider pins there. So, sorry, I'm not even showing it. I had a bit of copper slip on those. Made sure that they was all moving freely. So we've got the new discs on there and the new pads. That's ready to have the wheels back on it. We are going to bring it down in a minute. Start it up, let the oil get hot. But before I do, I did say we did this last night. And it's actually now dry. You can see it still leaves your fingerprint in there, but how much better does that look? It's not going to get any worse, and it's going to protect it from anything in the future. And it really does. It really does look good under here now. Really does look good. So, like I said, we're going to get it down, start it up. You did all this as well, Chris, didn't you?
Yeah, sub-assembly on the front, yeah.
So all of it is, it's all protected now. So we're going to bring it down, start it up, let the oil get hot, and start the process of giving it a service. Started doing a bit of prep there in the background. Removed both wheel arch liners. Chris just swept up another load of stuff that was underneath them as well. But we need to get to the bottom pulley, and the cover comes to about here. So it was a lot easier to get off. And again, not really doing anything this side, but wanted to take it out anyway. The kit, we've got a complete cam belt kit. So there's new idler, new pulley, new bolts, cam belt, water pump, air filter, pollen filter, oil filter, diesel filter, and the oil. And I just said to Chris, shall I fire it up and let it get hot? And he said, I'll tell you what, Rob, let's do the cam belt first. And we don't want the engine hot, because then we're just going to keep burning ourselves all the time. So we're going to crack straight on and do the cam belt. What I am going to say, guys, is I'm sure you can appreciate it. There's not a whole lot of room there. There's not a great deal that we can actually show. We've got to pin it up once all the covers are off. So I'm just going to crack on and start removing everything. But genuinely, there's really not a lot that we're going to be able to see. The only way you could actually show fitting a cam belt properly, I think, is actually doing it when it's on a rack or on the floor. So when we do that RS turbo engine rebuild that we've got, we need to build that engine up. I think we'll go step by step with that one and explain the process and all the pinning up, etc. But this one is quite straightforward. There's a pin in the cam, pin in the crank, and a pin in the diesel pump. And then you just undo the tensioner, pull the belt off and put the new one on. Anyway, let's crack straight on with it. Quite straightforward on these earlier Focuses. So there is only actually 2 lock pins. And as you can see down there, we're not going to go and buy a kit. We've got a drill bit there in the bottom one, nice snug fit. And of course, a drill bit in this top one, nice snug fit, locking the cam. So that is it. You just undo the little 13mm for the tensioner, let the tensioner off, pull the belt off. Then we'll have to remove the bottom pulley to change the water pump because it does cover up a couple of the bolts, and then start the process of putting it back together. But like I did say, as you would appreciate, it is a very small area, and trying to video and film it, you just can't get in there. Also, I have just received a lead on another vehicle that sounds very interesting. So I'm going to whip out. 2 of us can't be in there changing that cam belt and water pump. So Chris will crack on and get that done. And I'm going to go and see if I can buy us another car. Luckily, I was gone a very short time there, and Chris has managed to get the cam belt all back in there, all bolted back up, all the mountings are on, everything like that. And I just had to stop him actually to have a little cut in. He's already whipped the airbox out, and we're now going to drain the oil, take the filter out and do all that side of the service. But we're getting very, very close with it now, and what a lovely peace of mind knowing, even though you did say, Chris, that belt looked perfect, didn't it? Yeah. But and the idler, the tensioner, all of it looked like new, but it has been sat there for a very long time. So it does give a really nice peace of mind that everything's been gone through on this car. This should sound like a Swiss watch when we're done. Nice new air filter in there. That's going to make it breathe nicely. Oil filters all back in. I'm going to fit the pollen filter. Chris has just done the air box, blown it all out, made sure there's no dust in there. And he was just saying this air filter actually forms part of the air box. I did think it was a bit weird when we opened that up. I was like, round air filter for it. Chuck that on there. You can pretty much get a gist of what I'm saying there. Very, very strange setup, but it works. So we get that fitted, get some oil in it, and I'll get this pollen filter fitted. It is time, finally, for the old Ford Focus. We've cleaned all underneath. It's all oiled up, protected. We got new front brake discs, new pads, 4 new tyres, and a full engine service. All the filters, cam belt, everything is ready to go. I've just booked it in. I'm going to take it on its first voyage to the MOT garage and see how we get on. I don't think anyone was doubting the MOT on this one, guys. It went straight through with not one advisory. I kind of, everything's new, isn't it? New brakes, new tyres. None of the bushes were perished, believe it or not. So it really is a nice little car. The last probably job is going to be the paintwork side of it. The little dents and scratches, it does need a fair bit. Even that tailgate that we got had a little dent in it, didn't it? Which is a shame, because the one I actually got this off of in the breakers was a really nice tailgate, so it could have gone on there. And I may even still swap it, because we know that back window's tinted because it's off a Focus ST, and none of the windows in this car are tinted. This side, I don't think it actually needs any paintwork. It might have a couple of minor dings, and then you've got that bit on the front wing. But when we had the wheel off and the wheel arch liner out, Chris did get behind there and popped the majority of it out. There's a little bit of a scuff on the bumper, and we know that that nasty dent it had about here, he straightened out, warmed it up with a heat gun and sorted that out, clamped that bit of metal to it. Toe and eye cap, got that in colour, but the bumper has got a couple of little digs in it. And it, don't forget, this has done 19,000 miles, so it wants to be done very, very nicely. But I just drove it to MOT, and honestly, it drives like a new car. Even the air conditioning, we haven't put any gas in it, we haven't had it gassed up, still blows ice cold. So what a lovely, lovely little car this has turned out to be. And we're still well in budget what we said we was going to spend on this car. So don't go anywhere, guys. Just before we even move on to any part of the end of the video, I did just want to say, for those of you that don't follow us on Instagram, head over there, check it out. There's a competition running. This is not sponsored, but when I did that WD-40 cam, when they'd done that for us, salvage rebuilds, they actually made this cam for me. There was only one, and everybody kept asking about it. So we actually reached out to WD-40, and they've done a run of three of these cans. So there'll only be 4 in existence. The one that I've got, and 3 more. Unfortunately, already I've seen quite a few comments on there saying we want one with Chris on it. They didn't do one for Chris, but there's a competition running on Instagram. You can go on there. It's my most recent post, and you'll see the details. It's really easy to enter. There's a couple of silly little bits that you can do, and it's really, really easy. So head over to Salvage Rebuilds on Instagram and check that out. So the little Ford Focus, when I first told Chris about it, he was like a bit optimistic, but he said, we can't lose on it, Rob. Head down there and try and buy it. And that's exactly what we did do. I went there, I bought the car, and it's turned out everybody's really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to actually include, I've probably already included the pictures of what it looked like when we picked it up. And that car genuinely has turned out such a lovely car. I would actually use that car. I would drive that car myself. I would put my family in it. It's that nice. It's so tight when you're driving it. You can feel it's a new car. And it was quite funny at the MOT. When it come to the end of the MOT, the guy, he looked at me and then looked again. He went, has this car never had an MOT? And I said, no, it hasn't. And he said, to be honest, in all of his years, it's not something he's seen before. A car of that age with that mileage that's never had an MOT. So glad we went right through it, done the cam belt, because you just don't know. Behind that cover could be hiding anything. For those of you that have been following for a while, how about the camper, Chris? We started that up, do you remember? And then we looked at the cam belt, and it was like within seconds. If you'd have revved it, it would have definitely have snapped, because they go perished. So that is something that we definitely wanted to do. Guys, I'm going to get carried away and waffle on. One bit I am going to add in is you are not going to want to miss next week. Chris is probably looking at me saying, don't say any more, but when I popped out earlier, to look at another car, we have bought another very, very nice vehicle. So you've got that to look. We're telling them, are we? We have got two very, very nice lumpy bits of stock in the yard at the moment. So it's been quite hard ducking and diving around them today. And that video you will see as well. We actually did that over a few days, didn't we? That video. We're actually finishing it today, which is on a Friday. But we actually started that video after the KA. When did the KA video went out? Wednesday. So we actually made a start then, and we've sort of been doing a bit here and a bit there, and it's just been one of them weeks. It's been crazy. Hope everybody has a lovely weekend. Check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. Like, subscribe, share on all your social networking sites. Thank you all again for watching, and we'll see you very, very soon in the next one.